as I have this whole set at the moment anyway, I thought it might be sensible to do a proper review of the whole Vera Wang Embrace range. Now, I love 4 of these perfumes, and I mean, I love 4 of them. I absolutely deeply love 3 of them. So, weirdly, we'll start with the first one, and the first one is the one that on paper seems the most up my alley, but in reality is the only one that I don't like and I'm probably going to sell. So we'll start with the green tea and pear blossom. Now the green tea and pear blossom has its original cap, or at least it has a original cap from the Embrace collection. This one is actually from the Lavender one I have, and the other ones I have, and this one included, were all testers. They're all tester bottles from Direct Cosmetics, and you can get those for between like £5-6. So I already had this other set of lids that fitted them perfectly, and they came without the lid. So I put that on the ones I want to keep, and I've put the original lid on the one that I'm probably going to pass on. So I'll redo the notes. So Vera Wang Embrace, the perfumes are supposed to be designed for, like, you know, wanting to hug someone. You know, they're supposed to be a bit skin scenty, they're supposed to be soothing and comfortable to wear, and they're supposed to just be, yeah, comforting is the word. Super, super comforting. And I do find that with all of them except this one. But I guess it depends on what you find comforting, right? So the notes in the green tea and pear blossom are top notes of pear blossom, green tea and bergamot, middle notes of peony, freesia, orange blossom, base notes of musk, cedar and sandalwood. And for me, this one is just a bit sharp and very floral, and I don't get... I'll put a little bit in the lid. It's very, very floral, so I think you get a lot of that pear blossom and very little tea to my nose. And it's not fruity. Oh, and I can smell the cedar, actually. Yeah, this one's in my tea perfume part 2 video as well, and I don't think I really considered that at the time, but spraying it now, yeah, it's a bit more woody. There is sandalwood bouncing out that cedar, but it's woody, white floral. It's relatively gentle. It's quite skin scenty, but it's just a little bit... I find this one a little bit screechy on me, but I think that might be a bit of a skin chemistry situation. I think it actually smells nicer when I spray it than it does when it's on my skin, this one. So I think I might be to blame for that, and that's totally fine. Yeah, so this one isn't really my bag, which is surprising. But I think really the peony, the bergamot, the pear blossom and the woods are what you smell most in this. And I don't think the pear blossom translate to smell like pear very much, really. I don't see much green tea. So it's very, very floral, this, and it's not really what I was expecting. So that one isn't really my jam, but then we start moving into the ones that I do love. Now, all of these I have backup bottles of because I really like them. This one I have 2 backup bottles. So the reason for that is that they're not the greatest for lasting. They're quite skin scenty, so you will have to respray them. But if you're getting them for like a £5 or whatever, I mean, even full prices are about £15, so they're not bad at all. But it depends what weather you wear them in as well. Like, the warmer the weather, obviously, the sweeter they are, the longer they last. And I think compared to some things I've smelled, actually, in hindsight, these aren't too bad for lasting. They're not great. Probably the Rosebuds and Vanilla is the one that's not as great as these 3, but I think that's because it's not quite so sweet. So this is Rosebuds and Vanilla. And the notes for this: top notes, rose, Damascus rose, mandarin orange. Middle notes, iris, magnolia and cyclamen. Base notes, vanilla, musk and sandalwood. And this one I think is really easy to wear if you like rose. It's got a slightly powdery... You get the mandarin at first, you get a lot of rose. You get a little... I mean, I'd say sharp rose, but it's not like super sharp at all, but it's not massively old-fashioned. It's a little bit powdery, but it's like a powdery modern rose. Oh, it's so pretty, this one. And then it dries down a little bit and it gets into being slightly sweet from the vanilla, but it's not a cloying sweetness. It's not exceptionally sweet, this one. It's just a gentle vanilla. And this has a kind of a sugar powderiness to it, which is why this one is a little bit, to me, Turkish delighty. And I like it for that reason, that it's got that slight fruitiness from the mandarin orange, but there's a lot of rose in it. And then the vanilla, I think it's almost like a kind of powdery vanilla sugar smell, this one. But this is a beautiful skin scent. It's quite subtle. If you wear perfumes to bed, then these perfumes, with the exception of green tea, as like I said, it's quite sharp. But these other ones, oh my goodness, they are perfect for the bed. Like, they are just spectacular if you wear perfumes to bed. Personally, I wear these when I just want something comforting. So yeah, so I really like this one a lot. It's really easy to wear this. Yeah, it's really nice. It's orange rose and a little bit of vanilla, I'd say, this one really. There's nothing in it that bothers me. The sandalwood isn't particularly noticeable. It's just very, very pretty, and I like that one a lot. Now, this next one, Marigold and Gardenia. This one might be my favourite of the batch, which is why I have, 2 backup bottles of this. Because you can, for some reason, only get these in 30ml, which is a bit of a bummer. You can also get sometimes massive body sprays of them, but I don't really think that these are perfumes that need to be any lighter than they already are. But anyway, so Embrace Marigold and Gardenia is top notes of melon and mango, middle notes of gardenia, marigold, orange blossom, base notes of cardamom, musk, sandalwood and cedar. And I'm obsessed with this perfume. I think it's lush. I can wear this anytime. I actually was wearing this yesterday after I'm filming this. And I wore it on quite a hot day, which for me is unusual because normally sweet perfumes, I can't really wear them on a hot day. But it's just heavenly. And the reason I like this one so much is because I think it's more of a melon and marigold scent. I don't think, like, maybe the mango's in there a bit. The gardenia, I think, makes it creamy and it's sweet. I think maybe the cardamom is giving this a very slightly aromatic smell, but honestly, it's not recognisable as cardamom. I don't think the gardenia is recognisable as gardenia, and I don't think it's woody at all. I think it's just, it has a sweetness that's very creamy. So, and there isn't actually cream as a note in this. There's not like a custody note or, any of that kind of thing. And there's no vanilla in it either. And I don't think it smells vanilla. I think it smells like sweetened cream, which they do have in actually one of these other perfumes. But I think maybe the gardenia just gives this a beautiful creaminess, but for me this is a melon and marigold perfume. And as I said in one of my other videos, when I wore this, which I do relatively regularly now because I find it's incredibly comforting, soothing and beautiful. But yeah, this to me should be called melon and marigold. I think it's badly named. The first two I think are named really well. These three, the ones that I really love, I don't think are very representative of that smell. Oh my goodness, it's definitely sugary, it's definitely sweet, but it's creamy and comforting. And Embrace, because this is where we start really getting into the Embrace being the perfect name for these perfumes. Yeah, be absolutely beautiful, delicious and lovely. So then we have this one, French Lavender. Make sure that's in focus. And Tuberose. Now, I am so excited about this perfume. This one I couldn't get as a sample. So this is one that I had to get and actually buy it full price. So this was about, I think I might have got this for £12 actually, but obviously with delivery like 15. And I'm waiting for the backup bottle for this because this is a relatively new one to me compared to the others. And oh, it's so heavenly. It's so heavenly. This one is exactly what I've been looking for in a sweet lavender perfume, because It's very reminiscent of the Sleepy range from Lush. It's quite a lot like the Twilight body spray, but it's much more gentle. It's a bit more creamy. It's not as intense. It's not quite as sweet. Oh my God. Oh, it's absolutely lush. And then it has a little magical touch in the base notes. So I will read you those notes now. So, top notes, mandarin orange, middle notes, lavender and tuberose, base notes, vanilla and cacao. So, now if you consider the fact that Twilight is a perfume where the dominant notes there are lavender and tonka bean, and this to me has that same vibe. It's not, I don't smell this and think instantly of vanilla, but then I also think that often in perfumes when there's vanilla and cacao, it just smells like a sweetened cacao, and the vanilla gives it a creaminess. And this is intensely creamy. It is sweet. It is really sweet, but it's not, because it's not massively strong, it's easier to wear. I can't wear Twilight. It's just way too strong. It's too pungent. This one is gentle. This is like being embraced. It is so heavenly. And then when it dries down, you start getting that slight hint of cocoa powder. It's so beautiful. It's really, really stunning, this one. And the cocoa powder is not bitter. It's like it's like a true good quality cocoa powder, but it's made slightly milky by the other notes. And, you know, probably there's a tuberose vibes, but again, like I would call this one I'd called lavender and vanilla. I can understand why they don't do that. Or, you know, I might even call it chocolate lavender or something, I don't know. But it is just glorious. It's so, so tasty and lovely. I'm really in love with this one. It's really beautiful. But we're getting into a kind of much stronger scent that is kind of difficult for me to wear in summer. The Marigold and Gardenia, because it's so strong in the melon note, I can wear that in quite hot weather. It was like maybe 25 degrees yesterday and I was happily wearing it I was in the house. I wanted to be cozy. But anyway, so that one is, I'm obsessed. And then the other one I'm obsessed with is this last one. Oh my goodness, another absolute stunner. So this one is the Embrace Periwinkle and Iris. Another very badly named perfume in terms of how this smells. I don't know a lot about the smell of periwinkle, so I'm thinking the floralness that's not violet in this might be periwinkle. There might be a bit of iris, but honestly, the thing in that this is violet. This is a violet perfume, and joyously, it's a very sweet and creamy violet perfume without being sickly at all. Like, oh my God, it's magic. And when I tell you that this perfume smells like a sweet, in fact, these all kind of smell like sweets. This one smells like some kind of delicious sweet lavender, like sugared candied lavender. Or crystallized lavender or something. This one smells like a delicious kind of creamy melony sweet. This one obviously has got a Turkish delight vibe. So again, that's what I'm saying, that the green tea and pear blossom is really an outlier here. I don't think it matches up with any of these other perfumes. It almost feels like this is a completely different range that's just been put in this bottle. But anyway, back to Periwinkle and Iris. So the top notes of this are bergamot and mandarin orange. The middle notes are iris, violet, periwinkle and jasmine. Base notes are whipped cream, sugar, vanilla and benzoin. Oh, this is magical. So if you know what rose and violet taps are, they are a type of sweet. I'm not sure if they're entirely British. Like, they feel very British. I think they probably are. So they're like a fondant cream flavoured with one with rose water and one with violet. And then they're covered in dark chocolate, and then they have a little candied rose petal or a candied violet petal on the top. They're really old-fashioned. My mother used to love them. I have a real thing about them, despite hating dark chocolate to eat. I absolutely love the fondant inside of them. I am a real sucker for fondant. And this has that vibe because that cream in it is just gorgeous. And absolutely, the violet is what's singing here. That is the loudest note by a mile, I'd say. This is definitely, to me, a violet perfume. It blows my mind that this is called Periwinkle and Iris. And I think that's quite typical of violet because it is such a strong note, I think, generally, that it's quite hard to smell, not to smell them, but to notice them as the main note in a perfume when there's violet in something, to me anyway. So you've definitely got that slight citrusiness from the bergamot and mandarin hanging around when you first spray it, and then it's really all about violet and cream and sugar. I think the vanilla's probably helping it be creamy, but it's not like a vanilla smell to me. It's very much a sugar and whipped cream violet smell with it, and it's got just enough of the citruses to make it not sickly, because, you know, for instance, the Gardenia, is it called Insolence? Oh my goodness, they've got a very, very strong violet perfume, intensely sweet, and it's way too much for me. It's utterly headache inducing. This one, I can't wear this in summer. It's too sweet for me in summer, but I still crave it. Like, I need to smell it sometimes. It's truly so comforting. So comforting. And yeah, this one I'm not bothered about. These, oh, I love them. I think they are, I don't hear people talk about them, and it's a real shame because I have a few other Vera Wang perfumes and I don't really like any of them. I don't want to keep any of them. I've got a whole batch of things that I still need to review that I've had for absolutely ages and are just sitting in my cupboard waiting to get reviewed before I sell them. And you know, Princess is like the biggest seller. That's got cocoa in it as well. It's super woody. I find a lot of those weirdly mature. These actually are sweet and girly, really comforting, beautiful, beautiful perfumes. As with every Vera Wang I've come across, they don't last particularly long, but they're also quite cheap. And, you know, like I said, these here you can get from Direct Cosmetics if you're in the UK for like between £5 and £6 for 30ml, and oh my goodness, they are worth it. Particularly, I would say the Periwinkle and Iris and the Marigold and Gardenia are quite beautiful and unusual perfumes, and I absolutely love those so much. French Lavender and Tuberose I actually love enough, you know, to pay 30 quid for 2 bottles of that, so and get it full price, you know. The Rosebuds and Vanilla I really like, and if you really like rose and you like rose to wear to bed, I massively suggest that that's a really good one, because I have a few quite natural rose smells now, and that one, because of the vanilla, is just like, it's like a hug. It is actually like a hug. It's really nice. Yeah, so I mean, really, out of these, green tea and pear blossom are the only ones that I wouldn't really bother with, because I just don't think, I just don't think that it's embraceable. And I think if you want a green tea perfume, there are a million other ones that are so much nicer. So I wouldn't bother with that myself, unless you're particularly obsessed with pear blossom, in which case, yes, get this because it's very pear blossomy. But yeah, I mean, I've got 2 whole videos full of tea perfumes that I think are way nicer than this. So yeah, I would say these are all definitely worth your money. This one, not so much, but beautiful, possibly one of my all-time favourite perfumes nowadays. Absolutely stunning, absolutely stunning.